Dawn had just broken over the endless African savanna. Two rangers, a man and a woman, began their long patrol, venturing deep into the heart of the reserve. Their mission was a multi-day expedition, each step taking them farther from the safety of the ranger station and deeper into the wild. On their shoulders rested the enormous responsibility of protecting and preserving life in this vast wilderness. The male ranger carried a handsaw, a tranquilizer gun, and emergency medical supplies. The female ranger had antiseptic cotton swabs and a notebook to record every detail of their rescues. The morning meadow seemed calm, serene even, but both knew well that behind such peace often lurked unseen danger. Birdsong filled the air, mingling with the subtle screech of tires on the dusty red road. As they drove, they talked through the day's plans, expecting to encounter herds of animals out foraging. Though physically drained from days in the field, their eyes still gleamed with a deep sense of duty and hope. But soon, something unusual appeared on the horizon. By a small, isolated tree, a fully grown male lion stood utterly still, an odd and worrying sight. No other lions were around, and the predator didn't react to their approach. The female ranger frowned. This wasn't normal. Something was wrong. They brought the vehicle to a halt and stepped out, cautiously moving closer. As they approached, the heartbreaking truth became clear. The lion's neck was trapped between two twisted branches, forming a vice-like grip. His body was emaciated, his eyes closed, breathing shallow. A foul stench rose from the deep, oozing wound on his neck. The male ranger whispered in disbelief. It looked like the lion had been stuck for at least 3 days. His pride had likely moved on, leaving him to suffer in silence. The situation was critical. There was no time to waste. They had no contact with base radio signals, didn't reach this far. Help wasn't coming. It was just the two of them, a dying lion, and the hope that they could somehow pull off a miracle. Without hesitation, they got to work. The female ranger did a quick inspection and lightly touched the wound. It was badly infected, with pus and blood flowing freely. The male ranger, examining the tree, deduced that the lion had likely gotten stuck while rubbing against the trunk and, in a panic, thrashed until the wound tore open. If untreated, the lion wouldn't survive another day. They exchanged a tense glance. No more words were needed. It was now or never. First, they had to sedate him. The woman carefully aimed the tranquilizer gun and fired. The lion jerked slightly, then slowly collapsed into unconsciousness. The man rushed forward, saw in hand, and began cutting the branch that held the lion captive. Each stroke echoed in the tense silence. Sweat poured down his face as he worked with urgency. After what felt like an eternity, the branch gave way. The lion was free at last, but barely alive. The female ranger quickly cleaned the infected wound with antiseptic, her hands working with practiced care. The gash was deep, raw, and horrifying. She bandaged it tightly and administered a strong dose of antibiotics. Together, they lifted the lion onto a stretcher and loaded him into a special vehicle, securing him carefully for the long, bumpy ride ahead. They placed some dried meat near him, just in case he woke up hungry, and began the 2-day journey back. The lion remained unconscious, twitching now and then, lost in pain and exhaustion. The female ranger frequently moistened his lips with water to keep him hydrated. The male ranger navigated the unforgiving road, dodging potholes and keeping his eyes ahead. At night, they pitched a tent roadside, placing the lion's cage close by for constant monitoring. Under the dim firelight, neither spoke much. Their hearts were full of worry but also hope. By the next morning, the lion stirred. He licked some water and nibbled a few bits of meat. It was the first sign of life, and the two rangers allowed themselves a breath of relief. Eventually, the ranger station came into view. Waiting vets sprang into action, rushing the lion into a field operating room. Under deep anesthesia, they cleaned the wound thoroughly, removed necrotic tissue, and stitched the torn skin with precision. He was given IV fluids and high-strength antibiotics, then transferred to intensive care. The next day, the lion opened his eyes. He accepted food for the first time in days. The two rangers stood nearby, watching with joy and pride. He ate slowly, but his eyes held the spark of life once again. Days later, he stood on his own, pacing the limited enclosure, every small step a miracle. After a week, he was moved to a semi-wild rehab zone. There, he roamed more freely. His muscles regained strength. The wound on his neck healed, golden fur sprouting where scar tissue had once been. Whenever the rangers visited, he'd approach, growling softly in recognition, a gentle thank you. On the 10th day, they loaded him into the vehicle once more, heading back to where it all began. As the door opened, the lion stepped out slowly, breathing in the air of his homeland. He paused, looked up at the open sky, then turned to the two rangers standing at a distance. His eyes locked with theirs, full of silent gratitude. Neither spoke. That moment would live with them forever. They had not just saved a life, they had restored a king to his kingdom. And as the lion disappeared into the golden grass, the two rangers drove away, hearts full, knowing that this is why they do what they do.